We thank you all for joining us online today. The NSC, as you know, has continued to remain resilient in recent times, leveraging various digital platforms and innovative technology to ensure business continuity and uninterrupted dissemination of information to the market. The investments made by the exchange in this regard have indeed proven to be worthwhile, given the extraordinary times we now live and work. In April this year, we launched the digital closing Gong ceremony, and since then, we have hosted several webinars, virtual events, and interactive sessions with our esteemed stakeholder groups. As you know, the NSC is committed to helping issuers derive value from their interaction with the market, and this afternoon, it is my pleasure to welcome to today's closing Gong ceremony, Mr. Theodore Chikelu. Let me, on behalf of the National Council and Management of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, congratulate him on his appointment as the Group Managing Director of Transnationwide Express PLC. Mr. Chikelu is a veteran of Aviation Development Initiative in Sub-Saharan Africa and has over 23 years of experience in sales and marketing, operations management, business development, and strategy across the domestic, regional, and international airline business in Nigeria. Prior to his appointment as CEO, he served as acting CEO and has also held the position of Chief Operating Officer. At the NSC, we continue to identify new ways to support our stakeholders with various efforts, including advocacy, value-added services for listed companies, capacity building, and many others. On our strategic pillar of customer centricity, we have improved all-around efficiency by offering competitive pricing structures, enhanced turnaround times, and broadened communication through digital channels, all in all improving our customer experience. On capacity building through the NSC X Academy, we recently collaborated with the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, to organize training programs on corporate governance for board of directors, executives, company secretaries of listed and non-listed companies, and the general public. The program enabled participants to acquire knowledge on the status and current practices of corporate governance, whilst also providing broad knowledge about the capital market. The NSC continues to be actively involved in policy advocacy to ensure that businesses can thrive within an enabling operating environment, as well as providing organizations with opportunities to raise adequate capital to achieve the strategic objectives. Last week, Tuesday, we hosted the Nigerian Oil and Gas webinar themed Global Perspectives of Operators and Industry Experts Post-COVID-19. The forum brought together key players across the entire oil and gas value chain to discuss, amongst other issues, the impact of COVID-19 on the sector, government policies, funding dynamics, and potential shifts in reaction to global trends. As the Nigerian populace continues to experience growing cases of COVID-19, the NSC remains resilient in providing support to help flatten the curve and reduce the health and economic impact of the pandemic. The NSC's Masks for All Nigerians campaign is an initiative which was launched to galvanize organizations, companies, and individuals
audio is gone.
Apologies, I think we lost Mr. Bolmole for a moment.
My apologies. It appears that I got dropped off for a second. The NSC's Mask for All Nigerians campaign is an initiative which was launched to galvanize organizations, companies, and individuals to provide face masks to Nigerians, especially low-income households. We are proud to have received commitments from several organizations, associations, and individuals in ensuring that this laudable feat is achieved. Recently, on Friday, the 2nd of October, the exchange donated face masks to Ekwetedo Senior and Junior High Schools, Lagos Island, and Grand Mead Secondary School, Isolo, Lagos. I therefore use this opportunity to invite Transnationwide Express PLC, and indeed all our viewers, to join this campaign. Let me reassure the leadership of Transnationwide Express PLC that in achieving your strategic business oath, the NSC remains your trusted business partner. I now invite Mr. Theodore Chikelu to make a few remarks, and I apologize for dropping off momentarily. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Volumele, and the management of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. For me, it's an extraordinary opportunity. It is an extraordinary recognition, very rare and unique for Trenex, as we call our company, and then for me at the personal and at the professional level. First of all, in direct response to what you have said, we hereby immediately pledge support to your campaign, and we demonstrate it in palpable terms. It does not require a lengthy speech. We'll be getting across to you very shortly. Now, for us at Trenex, it's a work in progress. To an extent, for me also, is a learning curve in the sense that I came from the private sector. This is indeed demonstrably my first PLC experience, and is as exhilarating as it's dramatic. It is indeed as captivating as it's challenging, and I find it interesting. I also appreciate the oversight of the NSC because it enforces what is absolutely necessary, especially in the third world: manifest transparency and following due process and procedures in achieving results. Now, Trenex, Translation Wide Express, has been around since 1984, March, effectively, when it was TNT Skypack, and in the early 90s, it transformed into Trenex. And one of the issues of sticking around for a long time is if you're not careful, you ossify, you become a petroglyph, you get into structures and rots that need to change. And so for us, being privileged and opportune to run the organization effective since December 9, 2018, we've been working on transformations, we've been working on reformations, we're acting as change agents, and we can say that on the short run, the return on investment is quite positive. We have been able to categorize our markets into niche ones, captive ones, dormant ones, emerging markets. And we're looking at a more cohesive interplay of the different modes of transport, bimodal. At the end of the day, anything in our kind of business is looking at efficiency, is looking at speed, is looking at utility efficiency. That's the whole idea of the kind of business we do. And right now, sad to say, we have several unique problems in our polity, in our environment, in our social economy. And these translate, first of all, to, shall we say, a volatility in the political terrain. And then, of course, again, we're looking at the platitude of the COVID-19 scourge that's been around for quite a while. I think, in a strange way, the pandemic, sad to say, affected human life. Nobody really can give a categorical explanation as to why it's there. It could easily be called a force majeure situation. But in a very, very, how do you want to put it now? In a very strange twist, it translated in so many ways to an opportunity and an advantage for the supply chain business, for logistics, for the courier business, for the cargo business. Because of the protocols of social distancing, there is increased need for people to want to use remote processes to move things from here to there. Of course, the whole transport process is a derived need, and it is the process of exchange. Without transportation, without moving things, people, and ideas from place to place, business as it is cannot go on. Therefore, we owe it to ourselves as an obligation and as a responsibility to be good at what we do. We will not claim to be the best, but we're working hard at the galvanized level to consistently be on the ascendant in the services we render to the public. I can tell you responsibly that within the time we have stepped into active management of Translation Wide Express, there has been palpable changes in terms of outlook, in terms of the work posture, in terms of the culture of the company, in terms of the ethic of the personnel. And we have consistently moved towards a more digitalized process. The getting up and up all the time. I believe COVID-19 has, as part of its positive collateral effect, demonstrated a hitherto latent, accelerated competitive environment. You might say or argue that the market is shrinking because of the reduction, thanks to COVID protocols of moving people from here to there. But at the same time, competition, efficiency, drives improvement in terms of staff utilization, in terms of the services rendered, in terms of the general outlook and purview of every given organization in our kind of business. I find it particularly exhilarating. I find it as a positive index of acceptation. I find it indeed a manifest plus for Tranex that you have graciously given us this opportunity to be recognized by your highly esteemed organization. We can only promise that we will do our best and continue to extend most affirmatively our arms of goodwill and cooperation with the stock exchange in all ramifications of your activities. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Chikelo, for your wonderful remarks. Let me now invite the Doyen, Alhaji Rashid Yusuf, to make a few remarks.
Well, good afternoon, and let me also quickly express my welcome to Mr. Theodoro Obi Chikelu.
Thank you very much,
incoming, or you have already come. MD of Trans Express, Nationwide Express. Yes. To welcome you on behalf of the management of the Nigerian Stock Exchange and also the daily member of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Through Zoom of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. We are happy to have you in our midst, and we are happy to welcome you into our community. You are taking up the challenge of to something bigger than that you are, to all the various experience that you have garnered before now, putting them into Nationwide Express and making it the darling of the Nigerian Stock Exchange investor. We assure you that both the stock exchange and the stockbroking community will be there to support you. But in supporting you, we also want you to be close to us. Prices on the Nigerian Stock Exchange are determined by three major factors. The first one is your published account, which you do annually. But the next most important one is also the management information you pass on to us. Because in between your first published account and the next one, there are 12 months, and a lot of things happens in between. Yes, you will provide us with quarterly reports, but there are some management key important information that will happen in between that period. The more you provide it to the market, the more you provide it to your broker, to your stock, to your issuing houses, and to your stock exchange, the better it is in reflecting those information and the pricing of your stock. The information could be negative, it could be positive, because we are working in a very dynamic economic situation. But whichever one it is, the community will stand by you to make sure that you make a success of it. The third one is, if you don't provide us with this information adequately, of course, there will be rumor mongering, and we don't like to base our pricing on rumor mongering. That is public hearsay, because it might work either way. It might favor you, it might also work against you. But it is better to base our pricing on what you have provided. So we're happy to have you. We will be ready to support you. You are welcome. You are taking a new challenge, but bear in mind that you have the whole weight of the stockbroking community, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, behind you. And it is our wish that you made a good success of your coming on board. You are welcome. and thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Doyen. May I now invite Mr. Chikelu to close the market? Distinguished guests, that familiar sound is what you would have heard on the trading floor, signifying that another successful trading day has ended. I would like to congratulate and thank Mr. Chikelu for joining us this afternoon and wish him well in his new role as Managing Director of Translationwide PLC, Express PLC.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon, sir, and continue to stay safe.
You too, and bless you, and bless the NSC.
Thank you. So yeah, thanks as always.